Hi, and welcome to Seller's Disclosure Queensland. This is our how-to guide for how to purchase your seller's disclosure statement. Once you reach our landing page at sellersdisclosurequeensland.com.au, you'll see we're up front with our inclusions, our pricing, and also our frequently asked questions. Depending on which disclosure statement you need, whether you're purchasing for a residential house or land, or whether for a body corporate or commercial, you can see the list of inclusions in front of you here. All you need to do is click the Order Now button if you're ready to purchase. In this example, I'm going to purchase as if I have a house to sell. This will then take you to our seller disclosure statement order page. You'll see down the left-hand side some information about selling property in Queensland, why you should choose Seller Disclosure Queensland, how it works, and also what documents you'll need to get started. It's important you have these documents handy before continuing with your purchase. Otherwise, you may need to return later and upload these forms and information. Things like council rates, water rates notice, if there's any body corporate information that may be applicable, if it's a unit or townhouse, if you have a pool compliance certificate, obviously if you have a pool, any other notices or orders from the council, and anything about your tenancy agreement if it's currently tenanted. You'll also be able to read our terms and agreement pages here, service agreement disclaimers and limitation of liability. For this example, I won't go through those. I'll just go into how to actually purchase your statement. So first things first, you need to put in your name, phone, email, and we need you to create a username so that if you need to access your form at a later time, or if you need to come back to your form before you can complete it to upload some documents, you'll have a password link that will be sent to your email address and you'll be able to do that. So for this example, I'm just going to put some information in. My name is going to be John Smith. Put my phone number in. And then I'm going to have my email address. Okay, I'm going to create a username. For this example, I'm just going to make it John123. You can obviously make it whatever you like. Choose a password. Obviously make sure that password is the same for confirming it. And then select which purchase you need to make for your seller's disclosure statement. In this example, as I said, I'm going to pick residential house and land, and you'll see the price is already populated there at $8.95. The option there, credit card or Google Pay. With credit card, you'll see that we take Visa, MasterCard or Amex. For this example, I'm just going to put in our test credit card number here, just so that we can go to the next page. The expiry, CCE code. There's an option here to save your details if you want. In this example, I won't. Ask to click the terms of service so that you've confirmed that you've read and agreed to those terms, which I do, and then simply click Order Now. From here, that payment will now be processed. And once it's processed, it will then take you to our intake form and you can begin filling out your statement. So you'll see here again a reminder about what documents you need to get started and about important information that you'll need there. If you have any further questions, I do encourage you to check our frequently asked questions, which is again accessible from the top of the page here, or you can contact us. Very simply, we've basically taken the Queensland Government Seller Disclosure Statement form and we've tried to make it as simple as possible for you, the seller or agent, if you're assisting, to be able to go through and fill out this form with information we require. From here, once we receive this, we'll then take part in collecting any necessary searches that we need for the property. We'll also, once they come back, have a full legal review of those searches and we'll go and put the seller's disclosure statement together for you. Once it's complete, we'll notify you via email that it has been done. If we require any information prior to that that's going to assist us with completing your statement, we'll also be in contact either via email or phone or whatever your preferred method of contact may be. Once it's complete, we can also send the statement directly to your real estate agent as well, so they have that on hand for any potential sellers. And we'll, as you'll see when we go through the form here, you'll see where you can do that. The first things first, part one here is just about the seller and property details. So it's asking, is there more than one seller involved in the preparation of this statement? You can select yes or no. Again, for the ease of this demonstration, I'm just going to select no. If it had been yes, it does ask down here to provide details of any other sellers that may be involved, with their first name, middle name, last name, or a company name if that's applicable. As I say in this example, I'm just going to select no. I'm going to put the seller's first name, middle name if applicable. In this example, we're just sticking with John Smith. Again, what type of property is being sold? In this example, we're going to have a house. What is the address where the property is being sold? So we can put the address in there. This example, I'll select 10 Smith Street, Calabar. Then we've also got what is the lot or plan number of the property being sold. If you have that there, in this example, I'll just put 123. If you don't have that information, we can track that down. That's okay. Next line is what is the seller's home address? Look, if the home address is the same as the address of the property being sold, no need to put that in there. We can just continue on to the next page. In this example, we'll assume it's 10 Smith Street, and all we do is hit next. Now it takes us into part 2, which talks a little bit about title details, any encumbrances, and any residential tenancy or rooming accommodation agreements. So first question, are there any unregistered encumbrances, excluding statutory encumbrances, on the property that will continue to affect the property after settlement? So the key word here is after settlement. So if there's someone that might be renting the property at this stage, but they will be vacating the premises once settlement goes through, then you can simply click no to this. If there was, we'll then go through and ask a few more details. So again, for the purpose of this example, I'll show you what yes will come up. You'll then get asked, is the unregistered encumbrance one of the following? So is it an unregistered lease, other unregistered agreement in writing, or unregistered oral agreement? Again, depending on which one you select there, we'll ask for some more information. So if it's unregistered lease, for example, we'll get you to put in some information about what is the start and end date of the lease, the amount of rent and bond being payable, and whether the lease has an option to renew. Obviously, this is pretty important for anyone looking to purchase the property if this is going to continue after settlement. If there's other unregistered agreement in writing, again, we'd get you to upload a copy of what that agreement is, either being able to click browse, where you'll be able to select a file from your computer if that's where you've got it saved, or the ability to simply drag and drop if you've got it, say, saved on your desktop, and you can move it and drag it into this box here. If it's an unregistered oral agreement, again, we'll just ask for some information there about who the parties of the agreement are, the term of the agreement, and any amounts payable by the owner of the property. For the sake of this example, once again, I'm just going to go back to the first question and say that there isn't actually one involved, but obviously if there was an unregistered encumbrance continuing after settlement, that's the information that we require. It also asks then, are there any statutory encumbrances on the property? If there is yes, then again, please provide the details. If it's a no, we simply move on to the next question. Next question being, has the property been subject to a residential tenancy agreement or a rooming accommodation agreement under the Residential Tenancies and Rooming Accommodation Act during the last 12 months? If it's yes, we'll just simply ask, when was the rent for the premises or each of the residence rooms last increased by, which you can simply put day, month, year. If there was not one in place, just simply select no and move on to the next part. Next up is part 3, land use planning and environment. So are there any outstanding notices or orders from any government authority and given to the seller about a transport infrastructure proposal regarding the property? If there is, obviously important information for any potential buyer. And once again, please upload a copy of the notice or a proposal that was given to the seller. Again, you can browse your computer if you've got it in a folder, or you can simply drag and drop. Again, if there's not one involved, we can simply select no here. Proceed with next. Is there a swimming pool or spa on the property? So if there is, it says, if yes, does the seller have a current pool certificate? If you don't yet have one, then you'll need to obtain one from a QBCC pool safety inspector before sale. So if you've got one, you select yes, we'll simply ask you to upload a copy of that for us so we can attach it to the seller disclosure statement. If you don't yet have one, as I say, then we'll need to obtain one. Next question is, has building work been carried out on the property under an owner builder permit in the last 6 years? Simply yes or no. If it's yes, We note here a notice under Section 47 of the Queensland Building and Construction Commission Act must be given to the seller. If it's a no, that's fine, we can continue on. Has the seller received any notice or orders from any competent authority that have not been complied with? Again, if there is, please let us know what that notice of the order is, so that we can obviously pass that information on to any potential buyer. If there's not, again, simply select no and we continue on. Next up is about our rates and other services. So it just simply asks for please upload a copy of the seller's latest rates notice for the property being sold. Now, important here, if you don't currently have one, the fastest way to obtain one is for the seller to personally contact their local council and request one. Because you're the person who the name of the rates notice is in, we generally find the councils are a lot more receptive to helping you guys out. If we're ringing on your behalf, we do find there's a little bit more of an administration process there, and it can take up to 10 days for us to obtain this, and there will be an additional fee for doing so. So again, we encourage, if you don't have one, call your local council and get them to email one over to you, and then we can obviously include it. Or the other option is this property currently rates exempt lot? Property is not rates exempt, but no separate assessment of rates is issued by a local government for the property. The seller is contacting their local council to obtain one. So again, if you don't currently have it, or there's an option there if you'd like Seller's Disclosure Queensland to obtain one on your behalf for an additional fee. Next up, we have please upload a copy of the seller's later water services notice for the property being sold. Once again, if you don't have one handy, or you might have had it emailed to you, or you can't find it, again, easiest way to obtain one is to contact your local water services authority. For example, Unity Water on the Sunshine Coast. So again, we can request one on your behalf, but that will be an additional fee because there is a bit more of an administration runaround that we are given by the water services companies. So it is in your best interest to call and get that one yourself. And then once you have that, or if you already have it, again, you can simply attach it here. There is an option there. Do you require Seller's Disclosure Queensland to obtain that water service notice on the seller's behalf? In this example, I'll select no. To give you an example, if you do need to upload anything, it is pretty straightforward. In this example, you can simply go browse and you can select a file. I'll just select a random file here to give you an example. And there it is. It just loads up and attaches it. Likewise, if I had my water notice here, I can simply go on my computer, select it, add that on, and then we can proceed to the next page. It's also an option there if there's no separate water notices issued for the property, please estimate the total amount payable for water services per year. But in most instances, your general residential properties, they will have a rates and water notice attached there. Heading next, we just ask for some more information is, what's the seller's preferred phone number? So an option to obviously put that in. What is the seller's preferred email address? So you can put it in there if it was different to what you had previously. And then again, if we need to contact you, what is your preferred method of contact? So phone, email, SMS. This example have to be called. Do you require us to provide a copy of your seller disclosure statement to your real estate or agency, a real estate agent or agency? So look, this is in most cases, most people will be providing this to their agent. So this just takes a step away for you as the seller, that you can simply go in here and put their name in there, put their phone number in there as well, email address, and then we can stay in contact there with your agent and make sure they're in the loop and have that handy, because hopefully they've already got buyers ready to go for you, and then you'll have the seller's disclosure statement will go straight to them. So after that, a little spiel here. Thank you for completing your seller's disclosure statement with Seller's Disclosure Queensland. Once payment is cleared, we'll begin preparation of your statement. In most cases, this will be completed within 24 to 48 hours and emailed to you for final review and electronic sign-off seller. However, depending on your responses, this may take up to 10 business days if we require additional review and information from applicable government departments or authorities. So that's out of our hand. That's if something comes back on one of the searches that needs more thorough investigation. That usually requires a manual intervention from those departments, thus the delay. But if you're happy with everything there, next button is hit next. the form will come through. You'll see there all your answers that you've entered. Scroll down to the bottom. If you're happy with everything that's there, hit submit. You will then be presented just with a little